shooters, loaders, and casters, welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. And y'all should see Andy jiving with that music down there. Y'all know Gene is. Man, I'm glad to be here. Hope everybody had a good week. How was your week, CW?
It was a good one. It's deer season. That's about it. Just deer season. I did make a couple videos, put a couple videos up. Most of them current on Rumble. The ones on YouTube are going to be coming in the coming weeks. And it's been good. We had some good weather. We had rain yesterday, but other than that, we've been having some really nice fall weather, warmer than it should be, and pleasant. So can't complain. Hillbilly, how you doing?
Man, doing just fine as frogs here, brother. Man, good to see all of you and all that wonderful side chat out there. I mean, I look forward to this starting off the weekend every, week. And I just been busy doing some videos and stuff, working on a big giveaway for trying to collect some donations for kids for Christmas. And so that's been keeping me pretty busy. So anyway, that's been about it. How about you, Hot Pot?
Well, you've been fine as a frog. I've been as good as a goose that doesn't live in Springfield, Ohio. Man, getting eaten by Haitian. I just can't see that. Had a busy week at work. Got a lot done, a lot of sorting done, a lot of shipping and receiving done, a lot of everything done. I'm whooped. But it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, Jamie and panel. Ready to get the show on the road. What about you, Six?
Oh, I've had a pretty good week. I worked for 4 days. Had to get a bunch of hot jobs out before I went on vacation, which started this morning. And I went to the range. Spent 6 hours there.
Wow.
Had fun. Shot from 25 yards out to 200 yards. So I had a good day today. How about you, Andy?
Yeah, long week as usual. Work's always busy. Worked on my Seiko pot, had it all apart, cleaned it all out and whatnot. That's for casting the zinc and decided that I was going to replace the thermal couple. And didn't have to, but it's been in there for about 5 years. So I figured the 1,000-degree temperatures, we'll change it. Decided to mount it higher up in the pot so the bottom would be hotter because the zinc pots don't melt all the way up like lead does. It doesn't liquefy like that. And I did. It worked out fine because I used to only be able to do maybe 50 to 70 bullets, and then I'd have to restock the pot with more zinc, because the bottom was the hot spot. So that worked. Now I'm doing about 300 bullets before I have to restock the pot.
Nice.
So I've been casting a couple of days in a row now, maybe 700-800 bullets. Got another 2,000 or 3,000 to go to make enough for next year. That's just for 9mm. So that's been working good. Other than that, all's good. And I can't hear. Rebel? How about you?
Oh, me?
No, isn't the guy, what's this? I can't read the...
Rebel.
Oh, that's Rebel.
That's what I said.
That's Mike. Yeah.
Oh.
How was your week, Mike?
You're muted, Mike.
You're muted.
You're still muted.
Can't hear you, Mike.
Let me see here if I can unmute you.
It's muted on your end, Mike.
mute.
There you are.
There you
Oh,
go.
Mark.
Oh,
You just
Yeah.
undid it.
Your turn.
You undid it, Mike. You got to hit it again. Nope, didn't get it.
Mike, you should be able to see on the bottom of your screen where it's got a cross through your microphone.
Yeah, right down here at the bottom. There it is. Well, no. Down there along the bottom, there's a mute and a stop
There you
camera.
go.
and-
Now we can
I'm
hear.
here, but
We can hear you now.
okay. I was still hearing Andy talk for 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
I sold some guns, had a pretty good week. You can tell people are happy about the election. People are starting to spend a little money.
Good news.
I had a peanut butter sandwich tonight and did something that will make Six mad. I made chili beans.
chili beans.
Yeah. Texans don't put beans in their chili.
Yeah,
North
that's
Carolinians do.
That's a big lie. I tell you that right now. That's a big lie. My
That's
wife
what
Is
was.
it?
dude.
I was raised without beans, but my wife was. So I had to learn how to eat with them.
I
We
figured
both-
as big as Texas was, there had to
We're-
be some differences there.
Yeah, we're all Texan. You know, our parents were born here, everything, and yeah, that's a lie.
Gotta get that musical fruit in there.
that's it. Well, I got a hold of some good beans this week. Holy moly.
I'm glad you're on the other coast.
Well, the newest
but unfortunately,
girlfriend du
it's
jour
always
here.
the winter country.
Yeah, she's half Mexican and half Apache. So this lady knows how to do some beans, but you better not complain about them.
Yeah. But you know what, CW? It's always the wind always comes from the west, brother.
That's it. I feel sorry for you guys tomorrow.
How's
Mark
your week
Thomas.
been, Mark Thomas?
Gamma Dad says, "Is that why it's foggy?" And yeah, I don't know what those San Franciscans are eating, but it ain't the same stuff that real men over here where I am eating. They're eating Jello and tapioca and purple food and stuff like that up there.
Okay, Mark, how was your week?
I had a really good week.
Good
We've
deal.
we've been getting ready. We got Thanksgiving break coming up next week, so everybody's in good spirits. The weather changed a little bit. We had a little bit of snow today, finally,
Ew.
and just in fine spirits. Talking about cooking and eating good food, man. I've been cooking all week. I made some good chili earlier. The other night, I made some stuffed green peppers and some stuffed cabbage, halupki.
Nice.
I didn't need the beans. I had the cabbage. And tonight I made a big pot full of beef stew that
Nice.
Seth and I and my nephew stopped to visit for a little bit. He's been bow hunting hard all year this year and had 3 nice bucks under him, but he couldn't get a shot. So the Remington 760 that I was caretaking for him, that was my dad's gun, he stopped in tonight and had a little bite to eat and took that home with him. He's going to use that for rifle season, and I hope he gets a real nice buck with it.
You know, those straight down shots are tougher than people think.
They are.
They really
Try
are.
shooting a bow and arrow at that, and that, down like that.
Yeah,
Everything rises on you. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
So
go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
I almost. I was going to say. So it's been a great week, and looking forward to having a nice evening together. So let's go ahead and get her started, Jamie.
Maybe 700-800 bullets.
Very good. Very good.
Who the hell's listening to something from 20 minutes ago?
Okay. One comment. Walter, we've been missing you. Glad you're back with us tonight. And I don't think, I mean, there's always exceptions, but, you get this stereotype of the guys in California, particularly San Francisco, and they're the guys that drink tea and not coffee with their pinky out. And we'll leave that there.
Well, we've got 3 rat holes in this state. One of them rhymes with L.A. The other one rhymes with San Francisco, and the third one rhymes with Sacramento. Outside of that, we're good.
Hey, they say Harris is going to run for governor.
Yeah, that's what they say. I think. Well, no, we won't talk about her. She started here, and we don't want her back.
Yeah, we got Tread out there. MCK showed up, and we'll go through the side chat here in a few minutes.
Boy, got a good
I know MCK's been hunting pretty hard, and I know one of his buddies got one. We got Independent Arms out there. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, man, tonight we wanted to talk about a feller named Jelly Bryce. And I was not aware of this fella until Mike the Rebel Hester was telling me about it.
He's an Oklahoma boy, I think.
I believe he was. I hear you, Abigail. Probably they do that in England too.
Well, he was from Oklahoma?
Jelly Bryce was.
Cool. I didn't know this till I heard it on some podcast the other day. I mean, it's kind of off topic, but they said Oklahoma is the only state that had not one blue county in it.
Figures.
Yeah. We got Mr. Chapin's out there this evening, too. Walks Fletcher said he's part Cherokee. Rebel, I see you talking, but I can't hear you because you're muted, man. Do y'all want to go ahead and watch this video? I found a video of supposedly, there's Kyle Lusk. Hey, Kyle. Supposedly of how he got his nickname. Y'all want to see that? It's only about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, well, you Rebel.
Just nod your head. We can't hear you. Okay. Rebel says, yeah, go for it.
They put Roy Gage driving the car, Jack Vaughn in the passenger seat, Earl Johnston behind the driver, Detective Ken Ferris behind the passenger. And then Bryce was in the police car following.
The bad guys of that era had the mindset they were not going back to prison. Prison life, you served hard time.
Take the wheel! Get the gun, boy! Get it! Johnson, you coward! Help him out! Do something! Get the gun!
Bryce pulls around them, parks the car,
jumps on the running board in order to save facts.
There's 4 people in there, and you're trying to fire 3 shots in there and not hit your target. The theater that they finally rolled to a stop in front of held 2,000 people, and they're pouring out onto the street. It's a circus atmosphere.
Robert is dying, and he supposedly looks up at Bryce, who was always a sharp dresser. That's where the term jelly bean comes from.
I can't believe I got killed by a jelly bean like you.
That's how he supposedly got the nickname Jelly Bryce.
I can't believe I got killed by a
Jelly bean like you.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a rep, I guess, as being a really good shot. And
Yeah,
as I recall, he started off as a city cop or something like that. Or
yeah. Let
and
me
moved.
give you some information.
Okay.
Jacob Adolphus Bryce, born December 6, 1906, died May 12, 1974, also known as Delph A. Jelly Bryce, was an Oklahoma City policeman and FBI agent active from 1928 to 1958. He was significant for being an exceptional marksman and fast draw and for his dress sense. So he started in 1927 as an Oklahoma State game agent, but resigned intending to pursue college. Following this and during a shooting competition at Shawnee, Oklahoma, Bryce's marksmanship was noticed by an Oklahoma City Police Department night chief who suggested that he should join his police department, which he did in 1928 at the age of 22, the youngest detective in the department. And on his second day with the Oklahoma City Police Auto Theft Bureau, Bryce confronted a thief trying to hotwire a car. He identified himself as a police officer, after which the suspect drew a pistol. Bryce then drew his and wounded the criminal. Later, he rescued a fellow officer from a moving car who was fighting off 3 criminals, which is just what we saw. And he jumped on the running board and shot 2 of the criminals. When confronted, one of the dying men said, "I can't believe I was killed by a jelly bean like you." A jelly bean was slang term for a dapper dresser, which Bryce had a lifelong reputation. And it goes on from there. So that's a pretty good feat for a young guy like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite stories, and I think we had somebody come in, didn't we?
But I heard the doorbell.
That rebel bailed out on us. On July 18th, 1934, Bryce with other officers was searching for Harvey Pugh, a wanted killer and criminal associate of Clyde Barrow. Y'all know who Clyde Barrow is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And his accomplices, Ray O'Donnell and Tom Walton. Bryce's information put them at the Wren Hotel run by Merle Boland. Led to a room by the female proprietor's mother, Bryce found Walton and O'Donnell in bed with Boland. O'Donnell faced Bryce, pointing a Colt 1911 in each hand. Bryce drew his gun and killed him. Following the incident, Bryce was recruited by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a special agent. And he was, when he was with the FBI, he was a special agent in charge.
I mean, he had the drop on him.
Right. He's staring at 2 guns, and the guy, Bryce, draws his pistol and shoots him. So he was stationed in El Paso in 41. Then he went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. back to Oklahoma City as the head Oklahoma City FBI agency head in 1956. And he also demonstrated and taught his shooting methods at the FBI Academy. And following his retirement, he filed as a Democrat for the governor of Oklahoma, but fought as an independent, failing to be elected. And afterwards, he became a farmer near Mountain View and participated in shooting exhibitions. So he was born in Mountain View, Oklahoma. So yeah, pretty interesting character. And we got, there's a short. If I can get it to, these shorts are a little difficult. Let me see if I can show y'all this. This is him doing his instruction for the FBI. This is him. This is actually him.
Training, emphasis must be given to shooting double action at close range. For this most nearly in combat training, emphasis must be given to shooting double action at close range. For this most nearly duplicates the situation that may lie just around the corner for any officer on duty. Remember, this is the fastest method of firing. It is accurate and effective up to 10 yards. When fired double action from the hip, the revolver is almost lightning fast. The weapon is cocked and fired in one continuous motion of the trigger finger on the trigger. With practice, both speed and accuracy will be improved. However, without good form, speed and accuracy will be no better than hit or miss. Above all, learn good form and practice it religiously. Today's draw and shooting from the hip is smooth and continuous, with not a bit of waste motion, and the revolver in front of the shooter is in position to ensure a greater degree of accuracy. In combat training, emphasis must be given to shooting.
I do believe that announcer also did those videos we got in school.
Yeah.
Don't
it sounds like the
smoke,
same guy.
Whatever.
Yeah. I think if we were able to dissect that particular video, I think what you'd see him doing is drawing as he's crouching, double tapping, and putting it back, doing it again, because like every third one, he was dumping his cylinder and reloading.
Yeah, there's a half a dozen stories about Jelly and his accuracy. Like his dad didn't want him to get in trouble, so he hung bottles from a tree as a boy, and Jelly started swinging them and then shooting the bottles, and then eventually he started shooting the strings. So when he went to apply, he didn't really apply. He was getting ready to go to college. He was going to be a game warden, I believe, and he saw a shooting contest, and this was an application for the Oklahoma State Police, and him being just a young guy, he was like, "Do you mind if I shoot?" And the captain said, "Well, go ahead, son. Go ahead and shoot." And he took a piece of paper out of his pocket, and he folded it in fourths and told the guy to put it up on the target. He said, "If you can put 6 into that, why, we'll talk to you." And he said, "Can I just draw and shoot? Because that's what I do." He said, "Sure." And he drew, and he put 6 bullets in that little 1-inch piece of paper. And the rest is history. He didn't go to college.
Didn't need to.
No, he had a job right there.
So
I'd say that's a fun. That was a hell of a damn application right there.
okay, it's time to go through the side chat. All right, me and Walter seem to know what each other's thinking. What should we type in tonight, Walter?
Well, I was just going to say jelly.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So y'all type in jelly, and we'll call your name out on TV. And Curtis is out there watching hockey. I hope he's watching hockey. It's too cold for baseball, and the score is 2-1. So, all right, and they're off the screen. All right. Of course, Walter's first and on the panel. So is CW Longshot. So is Andy 79Z28 and 6-shooter Texan. And there's New Tex I Can. There's Papa's Place, Duffer 426, Crash. Papa's Place, New Tex I Can again, Abigail Finnegan, Dwayne 7834, Hillbilly Ups on the panel, Walks Fletcher, Garage Guy 879, William C. Chapin, Kyle. There's Miss Vanessa Kitty. Tommy Boy got to be different. He says jam. Me and Gene grew up in the era where they used to say it must be jelly because jam don't shake like that. We got
I remember that.
James Pollard, Dale Pogue, Corners of Doors, Bobby Barlow, Rollis Carvelis, the gun genius. Michael Dunn, Peanut Butter. That's a good one, Michael. Ron 2A Matters. Yukon 454. Michigan Tech Hockey. Yeah, I got it right. Vanessa Kitty. Mark Thomas is also on the panel. Tim S. Hasbro. 67 Rebel. SST AMC. Let's see who else we got. Glenn Davis is out there. Ozark Spirits out there. Good to see Hasbro. There's the Scotsman. Glenn Davis. Okay, missed it. Jelly. Jelly, Glenn. Cool. We're talking about one of our heroes of the shooting sports named Jelly Bryce. And MCK says honey is better. And I think that's all. Ozark Spirit said jelly roll. No, wrong guy, man. Wrong guy. And Alaska One Andy says jelly. Goodness gracious. Glad to have all y'all folks in here. Oh, and Mike Hester is here. This was his idea. And so we're going to let him tell us about something else. MCK says honey is better than jelly, and it kind of is.
Well, they said at the time, Grand Theft Auto, because the automobile was brand new, and Grand Theft Auto was the biggest crime wave, you know, and that first incident when he was became an Oklahoma State trooper. He caught a guy trying to hotwire a car. Well, the dude was bent over into the passenger side, and he was hotwiring that thing. And Jelly comes up. He says, "You having trouble?" And of course, the dude pulled a gun underneath himself and just pulled it out and pointed it right at Jelly. Well, Jelly shot him. He just shot him. He just pulled his gun and shot him. It was like, you're not fast enough. Your trigger finger ain't fast enough. You know. The guy was a phenom. He was just phenomenal. And that incident in the hotel, best I can remember, he put 5 shots in that guy's head. The dude that had the 1911s on him, he put 5 shots in his head. That's fast, man.
And he shot at double action too.
Jamie, did you read what he had carved on that 44 Specials grips?
No.
He had 13. He had 13 on one side and a black cat on the other.
I thought I saw pictures of that.
Yeah.
There's Gizzard Gary. What's up, Gary? Yeah, y'all, Mike sent me some stuff, and I looked at it last week, and I tried to email it from my phone to my computer, and it never did come through. So I'm a little bit ill prepared as far as
Well, Hoover saw the talent, and you could see from the old 1950s style of pistol shooting, combat shooting, of Jelly Bryce's influence, that crouch, that almost instinctive shooting. And that's something that's kind of lost on pistol shooters today. Everybody's got MOS red dots, and they don't practice that close up 3 yard away left arm if you're a right hander out of the way and putting bullets on target without really aiming. You're pointing, and you don't really need to aim at that distance, you know?
Yeah, I think most shooting instructors would tell him nowadays he's doing that all wrong.
Oh yeah, sure.
Crouching, bending down, yeah.
But if you watch any Paul Harrell videos, rest in peace, Paul, you'll see him doing the exact same thing you saw Jelly doing in that clip.
Yep.
Yep, his opening sequence always had him in that same crouch.
In his intro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can see Jelly crouching like that as many times as everybody got to draw on him. For sure.
Yeah, he faced a guy in an alley one time with a Tommy gun, and the guy was running away from him, and the dude turned and rat-a-tat-tat, and he missed him, and he was like, I don't know, 50 yards off with dim lighting in the alley and running away, and Jelly just pulled up his gun, and this one of the times he didn't crouch, he just sighted and pop, dropped the guy like a sack of taters.
That was back in the days when the cops could get away with shooting a fleeing felon in the back.
Well, Lord, yeah.
That don't happen that way anymore, trust me.
No, too much paperwork.
There's G23. Hey, buddy.
Hey, G.
Top fellas.
What's up, Scotsman? How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Hanging in there.
Hey, Jason.
I wondered how. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, timeout. Walter.
Are we ready?
Oh, Lord.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey, Mario.
West Coast weirdo.
Mario.
That's fun. You gotta love Mario. Nobody gets that kind of treatment except you, Mario. I don't know what you got going, but boy, you got us.
Yeah. So, I don't want to. Well, thank you, Mario. He said that was a good hay. Oh, and Ricky Baird finally says jelly. So I was off with him last night. We went to pick up some deer meat, and we went to this place called Sam's Burger Deli, and they got airplanes coming out of the building, built out of the building. He's a veteran, obviously, and I told our waitress that Ricky is a veteran. He did 20 years in the Navy, and they gave him this little piece of paper to fill out, and it said location, like where were you stationed or whatever. What's Ricky going to put down there? I mean, he was in the Navy 20 years, and we were trying to add up, sitting there eating, how many sea miles he had. We finally come up with about 500,000, I guess. But that was a good burger, Ricky. I'm telling you, we got to go back there, dude. And next time, we need to get the cheesesteak. It is good. One thing I want to talk about, and we'll go through the panel and get y'all's thoughts, and on Jelly Bryce as well. But today, it hit me that something happened 61 years ago today. And when it happened, it was on a Friday also. And I thought that was very unique. And it don't happen but every so many years. But today, November 22nd, 1963, was the Kennedy assassination. Andy got it right. Nailed it right away. There's our attacking daughters. Hey, buddy. Abigail said the CIA killed Kennedy. I don't think the CIA killed Kennedy. I think they just organized it.
That was a triangulated military hit.
That was a modern day coup d'etat.
Mm-hmm.
Not many of you are as old as I am, but I can remember exactly where I was and what I was doing when the news came to me. I was sitting on a bench. We had just finished PE period. I was a junior in high school. We were sitting on the bench outside the gym, and one of the other kids came running out of the office and said, "There's terrible news. The president's just been shot." And we all thought he was kidding and trying to figure out a way to get out of going to his next period or something. But it turned out to be true. Boy, oh boy, that back in those days, that, news didn't travel quite as fast as it does now, but that hit the country hard, very, very quickly. That was a hard hit for everyone.
I wasn't born yet, but I felt the same way about 9/11 because I watched that live. And
yep, so dime. Yep.
I'll never forget that. It's that kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also will never forget watching my president stand up after getting his ear peeled and yelling, "Fight, fight, fight, fight." And that just brought tears to my eyes. I thought, that is just badass.
Yep. Yeah, those kind of moments, fortunately, I guess they don't come around but once every couple decades, and that's way too often. But it happened at the beginning of World War I. It happened at the beginning of World War II. It happened with Korea. It happened with certainly 9/11. And if you're around, if you're alive, and you're witness to that kind of thing, whether via the media or over the airwaves or whatever, it'll grab a hold of you and root you to the ground somehow so that you don't ever forget it. And I think those are the kinds of things we shouldn't ever forget. Maybe it's part of our makeup that we don't forget those kinds of things.
I was a little over a year old. Bama Dad was a year old. Dale Polk was 5 months old, and Yukon 454 says that's the day that the Democratic Party died. Duffer says he was 8.
I was born in '65, so not quite there yet.
Gene, 3 years before my record-breaking swimming event.
I beat them all.
Look at that. Big Al was in Dallas today, y'all. Hats off, Big Al. The 61st anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. Mr. Bob says he turned 4 in 1963.
Well, not to take anything away from Jelly, but Jelly was alive then. Did y'all ever see that interview with the dude that is in prison that claimed to shoot Kennedy with a XP 100 and 221 fireball? Bit the brass, set it up on the fence, and they went back and found the brass. I saw that interview. James Fye, I think was his name. He was either an incredible liar and a good storyteller, or he was mobbed up. Who knows?
Yeah. Scotsman, you were saying something before I so rudely interrupted.
You're good, man. I was just gonna say, talking about trainers and how they would look down on Jelly, and that was most trainers today all follow the same curriculum to a certain degree, and you can't. There's various certifications, and the only way you can do those is through certain organizations, and they all follow the same boardwalk, and it's horrible because you're not going to get proper training with something like that. You have to be able to adapt to the person that you're working with. You have to be able to adapt to the situation. And most of these people that are trainers do not know how to do so.
I think me and you bumbled through that a little bit, Scotsman, when we talked last week. Trainers get locked in to a certain style, whether it be martial arts or gunfighting or military training, and they don't think outside the box.
Correct. Yep, absolutely. It's a big problem. I've seen it lots over the years. I've done various different courses and stuff, and some of the trainers that I've seen have no idea how to work with someone who's disabled or someone who has a mental issue or something like that. They don't have any clue how to do stuff. They're just on that one set mind of, this is how I was told to do it, and this is what I got to do.
Look at that. Al's full of good stuff.
Yep. I remember seeing that.
That's pretty cool, yeah. Huh?
There's Georgia Boy 44. Welcome in, Pastor.
Hey, Georgia Boy.
That peanut butter and honey will stick to anything on a day on a lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
Hey, you can use it for carp bait if you got to.
I wouldn't waste my peanut butter and honey sandwich on using it for bait.
You put a little bit of
we always use Wheaties. Make dough balls.
Catfish bait. I like chicken livers.
This part of North Carolina, we use dynamite at the fish and stuff.
My dad made up a concoction of Limburger cheese, oatmeal, flour, some other stuff.
Wow.
And then he'd go to the butcher and get a gallon of blood and make some blood bait.
So you trying to ward off evil spirits with that?
Uh-huh.
No, catfish love it.
All them dough balls, man, and Wheaties and bread. I brought a lot of catfish home when I was young.
Our grandpa always used Wheaties and strawberry soda.
Big Al's giving us all the good stuff tonight, boy.
I agree with that, Big Al. That section of concrete they cut out, and it's somewhere in that big Indiana Jones vault you see at the end of the first Indiana Jones, never to be seen again by the public.
Big Al, you and I stood in the same spot then. I was out there many years ago. We went up in that building and stood there at that window. That was that would have been a very tough shot.
Another thing to remember, the 6.5 284, which held the 1,000-yard world record for, I think, 7 years, shot by my friend Rich D. Simone here in North Carolina, was out at that time, and someone said it was used at a different building, and that's where the neck hit came from. The first hit. That's assuming that Lee Harvey was didn't even take a shot.
He didn't.
How could you take a shot with a piece of junk like that?
Well, for one, we've seen, if we've not done it ourselves, we've seen videos of people shooting shoulder up, head ballistic gels, and you can see the reaction from them, and they have all the bones and liquid and everything in them, and then you can try to line it up with that, and something just don't quite seem right.
I've shot a Carcano, Al, but not with a scope.
I have not. There's Patriot Paul. What's going on, buddy? Welcome. And there's GGW.
Brother GGW.
Yeah, man, it's hard to get sorghum though, by my dad. What I used to love when I was a little kid is they had an exhibition at the fair here. They had a mule out there on this big long pole tied to the pole, and he would walk around in circles, and they would feed that cane, sorghum cane in there, and it would squeeze the juice out of it. And then over to the side, they had a pipe that it would run into this big tank, and it was boiling down the whole time. Then they had cases and cases of quart mason jars that you could buy.
How'd you stand the Yellow Jackets, Jamie?
They had somebody keeping them run off.
There's two people around here that still make molasses that way. It's good.
That's kind of sick, Bob, Mr. Bob.
Hey guys, I'm gonna run.
Yeah, that's weird.
We'll see you, Andy.
Good night, Andy.
Have a good night, Andy.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna
Andy.
be in a side chat for a few minutes, then I'm out of here. Have a
One-
good weekend,
Okay.
everyone.
Let me ask you a question before you go.
Yeah.
Earlier, Curtis remarked that maybe JFK was shot with a zinc bullet. You know, that would kind of explain that pristine bullet that they found on Governor Connolly's stretcher.
That wasn't pristine, and it was jacketed.
Well, they made zinc bullets back then, so who knows?
They did.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Okie dokie, everyone. Have a good night.
You
We'll see
too.
you, Andy.
Night, Andy.
I don't know that, Abigail. I just don't. I know that every time it comes up for them to release the secret papers that they don't do it.
Yeah, no one's really admitted they've killed Kennedy. It's just been too buried. Trump's threatened to declassify all that. I'm waiting for it.
Boy, that'd be something if he did.
Yeah, and I thought about that because he was supposed to do it last time, and he didn't. I don't know if it wasn't like if he tried and they stopped him or what.
Well, he was
Or
too busy fighting everybody else, hillbilly,
Well,
you know?
that, or if I thought something that also popped in my mind, he may have thought if we do this, if we, once he's seen it, then our government's going to be in like bad trouble. So I figured it's one of two.
I've seen that too, Big Al. Of the millions of papers they've released, most are blacked out.
And redacted, yep.
What I heard is that he had planned on it, but and wanted to, but there were people that are still alive that would be affected, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he said that to Rogan.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
and six, the name that pops into my mind from your state starts with a B and ends with a ush.
Happened to work for the CIA at the time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was not he later he became the chief of the CIA. But he provided some of the boats for the Bay of Pigs invasion. All of this is documented, guys. I'm not a crazy conspiracy. I mean, I am, but
Yeah.
You know, my uncle was a Marine on the boat getting ready to go to Cuba when they called that off. He said, you know, they'd already prepared them to be hit with tactical nukes by Russia on the beach if they came down there, and but they were ready to go, you know.
I've heard that too, Dwayne. I ain't buying that.
Yeah, there's too much photo documentation that gun didn't go off. I believe the James Fye story before that.
That'd be one hell of an accidental discharge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. But I just thought that was always pretty weird that they actually found the brass with the indentation of a mower in the neck years later.
Where was the Bay of Pigs invasion planned? Found my dad. Yeah, there's too many of all of that mess.
Walt Fletcher, Howard Johnson's.
Probably.
Might have been.
Airport bar in Birmingham, Alabama.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. There is so much information on YouTube about the JFK assassination. It absolutely fascinates me because I was alive. I mean, I wasn't old enough to know what was going on or to remember it. I was only like 1 year and 3 or 4 months. But yeah. To think,
it makes you think about your grandkids too. You know, I've got a 1-year-old granddaughter, and I hope she never has to see anything like that or experience anything like that. And it kind of makes you. I think that's why Gen X, which is pretty much us, VAO may be a boomer, but you know, whatever. But it makes you have an innate distrust of the government.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, 50 years ago, when I was already of age, news media was different. Transmission of information was different. Newspapers were more prevalent than television news. And so news was a little slower coming to you. But even back then, folks were distrustful of the government. There wasn't anything like, you know, WikiLeaks or, you know, somebody, an insider coming out and leaking information. We didn't hear anything like that. You just kind of had to see what happened and then backtrack from there, you know, armchair quarterback.
Use common sense.
And try to figure out, well, if this happened, here's what those guys must have been doing when we weren't looking, you know, and there weren't all of the, you know, YouTube folks that are out there saying, hey, we got an inside track here. Here's what's going on. We didn't have any of that. But even then, we didn't trust the government. So
I'm not counting you out, Abigail. Gen Z's half of y'all are connected and the other half are nuts. So I know I'm raising one. So
yeah, Big Al, that was pretty much me. I was in high school, and as we were talking about earlier, you know, didn't believe it when I heard it, but we heard it still. It was probably a half hour after it actually happened when we heard it, but I was in high school at the time, and just incredible. You know, it was too much for a kid my age to absorb. We didn't believe it. Thought this kid that was telling us this stuff was full of prunes, but
I was 4, and I remember my mama coming out and telling us about it. Probably one of the earliest things I actually remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Uh,
That was, the same time period when men first went to the moon. And that was another incredible thing that we got to see. We didn't, it was amazing that we had the technology to even watch that. And, not to mention the fact that we actually got it done. But that was, one of Kennedy's goals was he came out, early on and said he wanted to see during his administration, he wanted to see men on the moon, and it happened. That was a huge, one small step for a man and one giant leap for mankind, as Mr. Armstrong said.
yeah.
He was right.
Duffer 426 talks about the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. He was on that whole day.
Yes.
He was from, it would have been about 1:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Dallas time.
Yep. Cronkite was who we turned to in those days. He was the man that we trusted more than the government.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a newsman. There isn't a newsman today that we trust like that.
Good night, Michael Dunn.
Good night, Michael.
Oh, we are past time.
buddy.
We got involved in this talk.
Oh, boy.
We have to do something
It's
here.
been a good talk.
We need to go
Yeah, that person.
tickle this guy up here just a little bit. You're right, Georgia boy. Electric windows were an expensive option back then.
But they were an option.
Yeah. Yeah, you could get them. Paid half the price of the car for them. You were uppity if you had electric windows.
And
My 1954 had a cigarette lighter.
It's time for What's Hot Pot Got?
I love that picture. Ooh.
Today we are featuring something from the government. I'm featuring the M13 machine gun links for a belt-fed machine gun.
You know what? Hold up just a second, Gene. If you could mount one of those things permanently to that reloading from the hot pot, that was just a really cool image with that coaster in the background. That I don't know, if you put a belt loop on the back of that sucker and hang it off your belt, that just looked great. That was a great image.
I think I might be able to design some coasters and stickers like that. That would be pretty cool. I'd have to put some bullets in it though.
Well, you got to put the bullets in it.
Yeah, these don't have any bullets.
I just got back, Gene. Is that 308?
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir. I got a big bandolier of that myself.
I've got a whole bucket full of these links for 308 and 556.
Wow.
I mean, a bucket. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these things. This is the M13 link. It is the U.S. military designated for a metallic disintegrating link, specifically designed for ammunition belt-fed firearms and 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO rounds. It was introduced in the mid-20th century. It is the primary link type for the United States and among NATO for the 7.62 by 51 NATO cartridge. As of 2017, it has been in use for over 60 years and is used on the Dillon M13 4D minigun, M60 machine gun, FN Mag M240, MK48, MG3, HK21, MG5, UKM 2000, and several others. This is a really cool piece. They affix up to 200 rounds coming from a container that is designated the M19A1 ammunition box. And this link did replace the older M1 link for the 30-06. Now, what's really cool about these, how they go together, it's exactly it's the same link over and over and over and over and over. So this joins in here, then you slide a cartridge up through it, which I have one here. They're kind of hard to do on camera, but you slide the cartridge up through there, and it's got a little hook down here on the bottom that it clips into, and that completes the link. I tried to find some information on why some have holes and why some don't, and the closest thing I found on that, my boss Heath said he believes that is just manufacturer. If anybody knows anything different about that, let me know, and I will let him know. But at Republic Ammunition, we are running some Black Friday deals. They will start on Black Friday, actual Black Friday, not all these pre-Black Friday deals. And members are also getting some special deals and first looks at new stuff we're getting in, such as powder types, primer types, some projectiles, things like that. So if you want to join and become a member, come along with Republic Ammunition. You know why? Because we're your source for reloading components. Shameless plug, shameless plug.
I don't blame you, Gene.
That's what I got for you tonight, because that is what Hot Pot's got.
I want to say something. I've been thinking about this for a while and I haven't said it. But, you know, I've been a member of this panel for not since the beginning, but for a while now. And in the last year, a couple of things have happened to this discussion hour or 2 hours here that we have on Friday nights that to me have just breathed a whole lot of life into it. And one of them is from this guy right here. The What's Hot Pot Got. You know, every Friday night he's been bringing us stuff that he finds, and some of this, you know, the cartridges he talks about, you know, you guys have seen or heard of, but and he always brings a little bit more history into it. And some of the ones I'm going, what in the Sam Hill is that? I never saw that before. So that's been a like that. That's been an education for me. And the other piece is from that guy that's 2 steps up. You know, when we do our verse of the week, that has added a big chunk to this Friday night chat that we do also. And it's just really we got some sparks in here that tend to build some fires. So I appreciate everybody here, and in particular those 2 steps that we've taken over this last year to improve the chat. It's been really a good measure for me.
Well, you know, Walter, when I started showing like an odd piece at first, I would just like bring it up and go, hey, I found this at work today. And then it was Jamie's idea to do the What's Hot Pot Got. I mean, so he's the man up there that has initiated all of this and kept this improving and rolling forward.
No, well, I mean, it's, you know, the rest of the, you know, we have a topic every night, and sometimes we stick to the topic, and most of the times we go that way and then that way and over there and stuff. And that's, you know, kind of based on what comes up with the folks in the side chat. And that's great. But
cornbread.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jiffy squirrel. But it helps me. Well, I shouldn't say it helps me to look forward. It increases my anticipation of what's going to happen on Friday nights. You know, because we never know exactly what's going to come out of the hot pot, and we never know for sure what Jamie's going to bring up for the verse of the week. And it's just always an exciting and worthwhile experience for me. I love all of that.
This is my campfire. I don't get, all my old buddies have passed on or can't hunt anymore, and this is my campfire. So I got campfire from, you know, Ohio and Ohio. I got to figure out which way to point my finger, and in California and all over the place. And I'll just do this, and it's a campfire, and yeah, subjects change, and we go off on tangents, but that's the cool part about it,
Yep. I got a question for the side chat and any of the rest of you guys up in here too. So my favorite Magnum powder, and I don't shoot a whole lot of Magnum rounds, as you guys know, we're talking handguns here, has always been 2400. Well, that's unobtainium right now. It's not there. But who has used, have any of you guys used Shooter's World heavy pistol for like 44 mag or 41 mag, for example? I've been trying to like AA number 9, and I don't like it. It's inconsistent for me.
I'll tell you what, Walter. I'll go through all the powders, and I will take pictures of each one, the front and the back, on what each one is recommended for. And Accurate has a really wide range of powders.
Yep.
That are good for 44, 41, 357, 454 Casole, 500 Smith & Wesson. And there's a lot of different powders out there.
I've got some through Tread. I picked up some Accurate TCM, and that's really fast stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we got that. We've got that.
A lot of guys are talking about H110, and I've got a decent supply of H110. Not a ton of it. I got maybe 7-8 pounds or something of it. And I like it. It's okay. I just was wondering about that Shooter's World stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nitro 30 is good for 41 and 44.
The thing about the Shooter's World stuff is that it's less expensive, and that's the only reason I was thinking about it. But
it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite, for 357 Magnum. And
what's the ram shot powder, Gene?
Enforcer?
Yes, Enforcer.
Yeah, Enforcer.
That's a good powder.
TAC's not bad either. Ram shot TAC.
That's my go-to. That's my go-to for 35 Remington.
Mm-hmm.
But Shooter's World heavy pistol, I gave some to Kyle Lusk, and he used it for 44 Magnum, and he liked it so well he went and bought an 8-pound jug of it.
Okay. Well, I may give it a shot sometime, as they say. But H110, it works. 4227 works, but I don't really like it either. It doesn't burn well enough for me.
Well, they don't even make that anymore, do they?
I think so. I think I keep seeing it out there.
I don't think so.
Really?
It's old stock.
No.
I think. What about Vitavori N110?
I haven't used Vitavori N110. I use a couple of other Vitavori powers. I use 340 and 320 a lot. I'm really liking 320 for 45 ACP.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And if you shoot 45 ACP, the magic number for grains, it's that many. And it seems to be a good, it doesn't matter what you got for powder. You put
Across
5 grains into that bullet
and
it's going to go. Yeah. And the N320s, it burns completely. It burns, relatively uniformly.
I've shot some M110 and 300 blackout for supersonics, and I liked it. I actually liked it better than H110 or 296.
No, I may give that stuff a try one of these days too. I've got it. Actually, a guy wants to sell me some, and I said, "Nah, I never used that. Didn't buy it from him."
Tommy Boyce is 11 FS, and we've got that in stock too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the powders we don't have listed on the. I mean, he's trying to keep up with the website, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking just the other day at his website, and it's easy to tell he's having trouble keeping up because you look today and he's got stock, and then tomorrow it's no stock. So, but I do.
Gene,
I'm liking the Vitavuri stuff. It's just expensive.
To your boss's credit, every time, like we're we're a local store that has more powder than just about anyone local. You know, we cater to the reloader, kind of like Republic, and every time we order, the price goes up. You know, it's like, hey guys, hey, you complain about the price of Varget on the shelf. Wait till we order it the next time. You know.
Yeah, you better buy it.
Get it now while the getting's good.
We have somewhere over probably 250 to 300 pounds of Varget. You know, we're buying a skid at a time, a pallet.
Yeah.
I mean, it
wasn't all that long ago when Varget was not there. Yeah.
Yeah, to keep the prices where they're at. I mean, he's putting a lot out to bring a lot in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine, because Varget was gone from the shelves for quite a while, you know, pandemic time, and you know, and that was a lot of folks' go-to for 223 556. You know, is you work up your load and put 24 grains or something of Varget in there. That's what folks were using, and then all of a sudden it was gone, and but now it's back, and H110 is still out there. You know, I still see H110 on the local shelves, and a lot of folks have it, and you know, online. I'll buy it local if I can, but
we just picked up a pallet of 8-pound tight groups.
Oh yeah, and that's a good one for folks to have for handguns, man. That's a a broad spectrum powder for handgun loads. You can use that in all kinds of stuff.
It's been flying out the door. I can't keep the shelf stocked.
My partner found some 8-pound jugs of AR comp, and I kind of went off the reservation with AR comp and came up with a 22-250 load with AR comp, and it's so temperature insensitive that you can leave it in the truck on a spring day and then go groundhog hunting that evening, and no big deal. It's still your POI didn't change, and but the Alliant prices have gone up so much. He said, "Mike, you want me to get you a jug?" And he told me our cost of it, and I was like, "No. Yeah. I'll wait till it comes down, or I'll find something else."
Yeah, I brought that 2400 up to my boss, and he got on through all of his sources and looked for 20. I mean, he spent some time looking for it, and nothing out there. There's nothing in distributors' warehouses. There's nothing in back stock with anybody he knows, and he knows.
Sure. Yeah, and I appreciate that effort too, Gene, because I know you were looking for me, and it's just it's not there, and it's of all of the others, it's the one that performs best for me with my bullets out of my guns with my loads, and that's a different story for every one of you guys that are out there, as you well know. You know, everybody's got their favorite loads and their favorite powders and favorite bullets and all that kind of stuff, and they work. One will work great for this guy, and for the next guy it doesn't work worth a hill of beans. But 2400 has been my favorite over the years for Magnum powder. But I know that there's other stuff out there that's still available. I got a whole bunch of 4227, and I don't like it that much. I use H110 right now because I got 7 pounds or something of that stuff. But
man, for handguns, I'm loving that Shooter's World Clean Shot.
Yeah,
I shot 3 matches and didn't have to clean my gun.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I like it too.
A 147 grain running 3.2 in it. Man, I'm making power factor. And I didn't have to clean my gun. I took it after the first match. I looked at it. Yeah. Second match, looked at it. Yeah. Third match, after I shot that, but I brought it home and took it apart. I was like, well, I really don't have to, but I guess I will.
Gene,
I love the way that stuff runs.
Have you used Silhouette?
Yeah, I use Silhouette for major power factor loads.
That's a good metering powder. I know that in a Dillon. So, yeah.
Under a 124 grain with Silhouette, it takes 7.4 to hit a 175 power factor for 9 millimeter. for competitive shooting.
Right.
But that's shooting 9 major. So yeah, I'm not packing the powder down. It doesn't swell the cases. It meters great. I think I've got about 8 pounds of it. We have that in stock.
I was shooting my 32 today, and I'm loading it with H4227, and it shoots really good.
Yeah, Pastor said he never had luck with 4227. I've had some that worked really well and some that didn't work well at all.
Yeah, but I'm using H, not the IMR. So
Yeah.
it's a different powder.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make a difference.
You'll see it in a video in the morning.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Good night, Walks Fletcher.
Good night, Walks, and good night, Gizzard Gary. Have a good show, buddy.
Yep.
We'll let
the only accurate I use is 2230 in my 7BR.
That's good powder.
I had a 5-shot group going that was all touching each other, and I flung one off about an inch at 100 yards from my XP.
I save all my Varget for 6BR. So
me too, Georgia boy. I've got the IMR 4227.
I want to try some of the Shooter's World precision rifle in that 7BR.
I hadn't tried any of that yet. It's supposed to be really close to Varget, though.
I tried it in my 270 and didn't like it. It was starting load, the bolt was already sticking.
Yeah.
That's it. That's good to know, Tommy boy. He says 4227's got to be near max to work.
Yeah, and that's where I've run it. You know, if it's one of those powders, if you run it low, you get all kinds of little, bits of burnt and unburnt powder in your cylinders, and all over the place.
I'm running,
and it just doesn't burn real completely. And you get it up to the max load, but it still doesn't give you the velocity that you'd get out of a near max load of H110 or 2400 or some of the other powders. So
that kind of sounds like 1680 and 300 blackout. Everybody said, well, that's the go-to powder to make an AR work. Well, in a subsonic form with pistol gas length. But my God, it's so dirty. And I mean, your barrel looked like a mile of bad gravel road in no time. But if you load that stuff supersonic and kind of a heavy for 300 blackout bullet, like 150 or up, and compress it a little bit, it turns into a completely different powder. You get good velocity. It's clean. It burns good. Just goes to show you, just because you used it one way doesn't mean it doesn't work for another,
Yeah, that H4227, I'm shooting in at 32 H&R, and I'm shooting 32 grains in it. It's full case. It might be even compressing it a little bit.
That 6x45, I've got 2 of them. That's nothing but a necked up 223, but I'm going to shoot a deer with it. And I'm taking I've got an AR and I've got a Model 7 custom bolt, but I'm going to take the AR to work tomorrow a little early and run across the road to the range. And I'm going to pop one shot, just one. And I developed a load earlier, and it was just a tick over mag length. And then Barnes bullets are like anything you've ever used. The further you jump them, the better they get, up to a certain point. With precision shooting, I'm used to loading into the lands or just off of them. But Barnes, nah. You jump those boogers 120 thousandths, and they're just happy as everything because they're all copper. They have to release some of that pressure, I guess. But I keep shooting deer with smaller and smaller stuff. You know, I'm gonna get down to 22 short one of these days.
Okay, I want to say something here, and it's time for our verse of the week. 5744 and Shooter's World Buffalo Rifle are the exact same powder.
Huh.
And I got that from the ballistician at Shooter's World. And then back up here, Tommy Boy said that I can't find it now. There it is. If you can't find Top Group, Hodgson is relabeling as High Gun to get more shotgun guys to buy it. Exactly the same powder. I thought they had Tight Wad for shotgun, Tommy Boy. I guess that's a little bit different powder. But Tight Group is my favorite 9mm powder. And it probably shouldn't be, but
God help me, I still use Unique. I just love the way it smells.
Unique's a great powder. I use it in 44 Special.
Yeah.
You know, with my skeeter loads, and I use it in 45 Colt. That's where it goes mostly.
Yep.
And it's unobtainium right now too, because it's an Alliant powder, and Alliant's not giving us anything.
Yeah,
if you see Unique, grab it, boys, because it may be a while before we get it again.
I've got about 6 pounds in 1 pound bottles, and I cherish it. I absolutely cherish it.
I know it's just, you know, with Lyman 429-421 and 7.5 grains of Unique in a 44 Special, that's the magic load right there. That's what you do. And it's a great one. And I shoot lots and lots and lots of that. In fact, so much that I've got to get away from my 44 Magnum revolvers and come up with a 44 Special revolver, which just as we speak happens to be in the works. But go try to find a 44 Special revolver these days. But anyway, I found one. So Unique. It's been around forever. It works with 45 ACP, works with just about everything. It's a little dirty, but it's a great powder, and it's sorry that it's not here. Guy at my range had 4.5 pounds of it the other day. He said, "Hey, Walt, can you use this?" I said, "Yeah, I'll give you $40 a pound for it." He said, "Take 35." I said, "Okay." He sold it. I said, "I'll take it."
Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, Pastor, is that Tight Group will, if you store that stuff a long time, it will.
It'll eat your powder coat. But the pastor himself, you know, he when we started looking at that a few years ago, he brought out some rounds that he had made that were with powder coated bullets with Tight Group that were a year old, and went out and shot them, and they all went bang. But
I've got my samples still in there. The 6 months is coming up here in a couple of weeks that I'm going to be breaking down one of them and shooting the rest of them across the chronograph. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. Tell us what happens. And who was it? Broke Loader had done quite a few tests with that and found that the fumes would eat its way up the sides of that bullet and even react with the powder coat on the shank of the bullet, you know, after it had been, you know, loaded in the case stuff.
Jamie, I don't want to hold you up, but to you caster guys out there, I had a customer give me a entire jug of 452 gas checked 260 grain 45 Colt bullets. And I thought, oh my God, what a load. You know, what a hard hitting booger that would be. I haven't loaded any of them yet, but, and I don't know what mold it is. I'm not the caster you guys are, but maybe on another cast, I'll show y'all the bullet and y'all can tell me what it is.
That'd be fun. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be good. Bring one, show it to us next week. All right. I'm going to start doing something on the verse of the week. I found this old training tool that we had, and that I wanted to share back when I was more involved in missions, and it's called "How to Become a Christian: a step to faith," and it's got faith spelled out down here in different verses. So we're going to do the first one tonight, and I hope y'all like this,
Oh,
and I
cool.
hope you'll hang in there with us. And yeah, CW bailed out because he's had a tough day. A lot of this is from, well, no, it's not. First verse is. We're going to do two verses tonight. The first one is Romans 3:23. Says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." And let's break that down a little bit here, if I can find it. There it is. This is one of the key statements of the entire New Testament. And it falls within the most powerful and thorough explanation of salvation by faith alone through grace of God in the Bible. Before anyone can put their faith in Jesus Christ's death on the cross to save them, they must believe and understand that they are a sinner in need of salvation. Paul teaches us that the glory of God is the standard and that no one but Jesus Christ has ever come close to meeting. All right, let's look at that word "for" right there. Paul's point is that no one who can be Paul's point is that there is no one who can be saved without God's work on their behalf. He said in the previous verse that there's no difference in this regard between Jews and Greeks. Basically, Jews separated the world into two categories. You were Jewish or you were not. And there's a word for that is Gentiles. Where you're either Jew or Gentiles. And here Paul chooses to use the word Greeks because he's writing to the Romans here. So that's why he would use that term instead of Gentile. Both have the same problem and require the same solution, and that solution is Christ's atoning work on the cross. When we read that phrase there, all have sinned and fall short. And John writes to us in 1 John 1, verse 8, he says, "If we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us." Earlier in that same chapter, Romans chapter 3, back in verse 10, Paul says, "There is no one righteous, not even one." And in Romans 6:23, Paul, still writing to the church at Rome, that the wages of sin is death. God promised Adam that as soon as he disobeyed God by eating of the forbidden tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that he would surely die. Adam's rebellion brought sin into the world so that everyone is born into sin. Therefore, all sin and fall short of God's standard for us. And then you read that phrase there, of the glory of God. God's standard is his own sinless perfection, his own glory. His glory is paramount in his plans and thoughts. How God does everything ultimately for his own glory. You can read that in Isaiah chapter 48, verses 9 and 10. And this is good because it includes saving men and women for his own glory. So when we come to salvation in Christ Jesus, God the Father is glorified. If this is offensive, it's because we forgot that God is not a fallen man like one of us, but rather he is the most glorious being in the universe. It would be inconsistent with the truth and with his nature for him to want the most glory to go to something else besides himself. So when we see things like the way God refers to himself, that is so not what he teaches us to be. Uh, he teaches us to be humble, to be filled with humility. And while he wants all the glory and praise and the prayers for himself, well, he's God. He created the whole universe. So is he entitled to that? Absolutely, he is. So when we see the phrase "the glory of God," we gotta. And one of the things I've been working with is, you know, people say God can do anything. Well, God can't do anything. There's certain things that God can't do, like he can't lie, he can't dishonor himself, but it's because of God's standard for himself, the way he chooses to be. He chooses to be good. He chooses to be righteous. He chooses to be holy and loving and giving. And that's why he's God, and that's why he deserves all praise, glory, and honor. And just quickly, we'll look at one more verse, and that's Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 7. Paul again writing to the church at Ephesus. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his grace. In him there is referring to Christ Jesus. We have redemption through his blood. The only sacrifice that God is willing to accept for the forgiveness of our sin is the shedding of blood. And that is evident through the temple's the temple sacrifice system that they were required to do in Jerusalem, and that's what forgives our sins. But there's no blood that an animal can shed that will completely forgive us of sins. It'll forgive us of those sins right then, but as we read in the previous verse, we all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and we keep doing it. So we've got to keep going back and keep going back. Here's the thing. Jesus was sinless perfection, God in the flesh. His perfect life is the only thing that made his blood an acceptable sacrifice to God the Father for the forgiveness of all the sin of all the world for all time. Period. Point blank. And that, as we look at this last phrase in this verse, personifies the riches of God's grace. Does that make any sense?
Makes perfect sense, Jamie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And it when you go back to, I don't know, can you put Romans 3:23 back up there, Jamie? You still got it handy? For all of sin? Yeah, there we go. It's a good reminder that each and every one of us have sinned, and probably today. It's part of being human, and I'm fairly certain, and you don't quote me on this, but we go back to Genesis, and I'm fairly certain that when Adam took that bite, that was the first sin for all of us, that wasn't necessarily all of his own volition. I'm pretty sure that God himself, instilled that idea within Adam that he ought to take a nip out of that apple. And the reason that he did that was to show the rest of us that the pathway to glory is going to be a challenge. It's not going to be a sleigh ride. You don't get to be just born and now you're saved. You're going to have to work for it. And you're going to make mistakes along the way. And we see it all throughout Old Testament and New Testament that salvation is there for you. But it's not just something that's going to be stuck inside you like a hypodermic needle. You're going to have to work at it. And I think that particular verse that you put up there, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Yeah, that's true. But that it's like the saying, hey, if what you're doing now ain't working, then do something different. In this case, do something better. We know we're going to sin. We're people. We're human, and we're going to make mistakes. But there is a path, and there's instructions on how to follow that path. You know where they are?
Talking about that apple that woman made him eat.
They're right there. So,
Yeah.
I tell you what, Walter, I've sinned enough for 20 times for every person on this panel. And I was a wild child. Not just a child, I was a wild adult. It wasn't drugs, it was just, I won't get into it, but it wasn't addiction, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, but it ruined the first marriage. And when I married my wife now, 24 years ago, and I probably got that wrong. We don't mark the date on the calendar. I realized you have something that that God meant you to have, and you need to love it. You need to cherish it. You need to take your vows seriously, and you need to stop doing what you're doing. And it was tough, it was tough. You fall into habits and you continue sinning and you're sinning, and you ask Jesus to forgive you, and you hear that voice in your head, well, stop it, son.
That's right.
Stop it. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And finally I did, I stopped it. And now I hear God's voice through my mother, who's been dead for 15 years. And she always got in my head anyway. And mom could get in my head, but I hear God's voice through my mother speaking. It's always in her voice, and I always figured she was a conduit, and I followed that path for the last 25 years, and it served me well. It really has, But I always realized that I always fall short of the man, Jesus. And me and a friend of mine always referred to Jesus and the disciples as Big J and the 12, and he was kind of a cool guy. If you read the New Testament and you see what he did, he was radical. He was awesome. And I humble myself before him. I really do. And I don't really need a church to do that. I just need friends like yourselves to witness to say that in William Money's and Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven, I ain't like that no more,
Yeah.
And I don't sin like that no more. I'm a different man.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you hear the voice in your head.
Oh, yes.
When you know that as soon as you've done something, oh boy, I need to talk to somebody about this because that wasn't right. If those thoughts are in your mind, you're on the right pathway. You know, we
Yeah,
know we're
but
all going to make mistakes.
back in the day they weren't even
Right.
thought. I didn't even
Yeah.
ask. You know,
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
I
I'm fine.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So,
You know.
And we'll wrap that up. And if y'all give me just a second, we'll wrap it up. We'll start going through the room and make way for Gizzard Gary. So, how to become a Christian? A step of faith. In your opinion, what do you understand it takes for a person to go to heaven? Consider how the Bible answers this question. It's a matter of faith. And F is for forgiveness. We all have sinned and cannot have eternal life in heaven without God's forgiveness. And those are the first two verses of forgiveness. And we will do letter A next week, which is for available. So, guys, thank y'all so much for allowing me to do this. And it's a blessing to me. And I hope it makes a difference uh, in your walk with the Lord, and hopefully it'll help you. Some of you guys that might not be believers or church going folks, maybe it'll crack that door open and let you see uh, how much God really loves you. And with that, we'll start going through the room, and we let the American Hillbilly always go first, so he can go help out Gizzard Gary over there.
Well, thank you, buddy. What a great show tonight. Great verses there too, Jamie. Man, just appreciate you guys letting me be a part of this. It's always a blast. Always a great panel of people and side chat. Very thankful to be here and be part of it. Oh man, yeah, we got Gizzard Gary coming up next, and see what I got this week. We got I got some more videos coming out, but I am also got a deal. I'm raising some money people can donate, and going to get toys, to kids less fortunate, for Christmas and stuff. And so, um, something that me and my wife has always held dear in our heart. We got 3 kids and 7 grandkids, and we know, the excitement that a youngin, can have just by, having that present, knowing, the open, that knowing somebody cares for them and stuff. And so, upon doing that, we're taking some donations, and they are $20 an entry. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're giving away quite a bit of really nice stuff. And one of those is an actual brand new pew pew, and so that's why the video is over on Rumble. And so I'll put that video out in the side chat. And so, anyway, if you're interested in helping out and having a chance to win several nice prizes, please go check it out. And so, anyway, appreciate you guys so much. Love each and every one of you, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you, Hillbilly.
Bye, Mike.
Bye, buddy.
So, Mark Thomas, you want to go next?
Well, sure. Don't know what I have to offer this week. Been pretty busy. I'm going to try to get out and do a little bit of casting if I can. Maybe a little bit of getting ready for deer season. We had a real nice evening tonight. Had a good dinner. We had a visit from my nephew. He was taking my dad's rifle, which was really his. He's going to do that hunting rifle season for deer. Hopefully he gets a good harvest. So me and my son, we're getting ready for next week, Thanksgiving, and our time out in the woods. Hopefully we'll be successful too. So good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Been a great evening. Good night, all.
Thanks for being here, Mark. We appreciate you, bro.
See you, Mark.
Thanks for having
Rebel,
me.
Rebel, you doing anything this coming week?
Well, I got to do this first. Wait. Let me get my eyes right. Yeah, I like this front porch view. It blacks me out a little bit. The shop will be closed on Thanksgiving Day. I really haven't spent that much time baiting up deer as we do in the South. Don't know if I'm going to get out and do any hunting. I'm going to get a rifle sighted in. I've got 9 rifles sighted in, but the one particular one I want to use that I mentioned before, I'm gonna take a shot tomorrow, one, and go, okay, I'll adjust the scope from there, and we'll see what happens. But other than that, my daughter will be home on Sunday. She's in college at Western North Carolina. They didn't sustain a heck of a lot of damage like the middle part of Appalachia did, Burnsville and Asheville and all that. She's slightly autistic, so when she comes home, if something doesn't go her way, I tend to have to walk out of the house. So supposedly she's cooking Thanksgiving dinner, so I'm going hunting. Definitely getting the heck out of the house. Yeah, I'm going to be in the woods no matter what for all day. I'm not coming back inside, and I'm gonna let her do her thing, and we'll see. She's a good cook, though. My daughter's a good cook.
Very good, very good.
Sounds good, man.
Next week when we're on, it'll be Black Friday, so maybe we can do cover some of the Black Friday sales.
Yeah.
Well, I by the way, I forgot. I do have a box at the shop through a nonprofit, Toys for the Victims of Helene up in our mountains, and it's half filled right now. I'm by one of my partners, and I'm gonna fill it up the rest of the way. I know times are bad still for folks. I'm not begging them to throw anything in there. If it's nothing but me and Trent and Chad, we'll fill that box up and at least bring a smile to a child's face that's lost everything.
Yeah.
What do you get for a kid that's lost everything?
I don't know.
I know. I don't either.
Yeah. Y'all, if you want to help out with that, and Hillbilly, either one, there's a lot of kids that need our help at Christmas time, and so you can find Rebel at Bullseye Sporting Goods, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Hillbilly's all over the interweb, so he ain't hard to find. Mr. Gene, you got something coming up this week?
Looking to his left or right, asking for permission.
You hear that?
No, we can't hear.
Oh, bummer. Because it's a Darth Vader koozie with the theme song in it.
Ah. I hear you.
Thanks for having me on tonight. Had a good time. Man, all the side chat was just rocking out tonight, blasting back and forth. Sorry about my comment. Couldn't help myself. Fastest swimmer.
There you go, man.
I guess we all were, Gene.
Let's see. Tomorrow I got to do some oil change, new battery change in my car. Got some work in the evening time. And I got a USPSA shoot on Sunday, last outdoor event of the year. It's looking like it's going to be high 40s, low 50s, which will be pretty good. Not bad, not bad. I'll shoot in the rain. I'll shoot in the cold. I don't care. At my local club I belong to, we have a frozen finger match every January 1st. And a couple times we've had soggy finger match, just soggy chili. But that's okay. It's always some good food afterwards. Just thanks for having me on tonight. Had a good time. Appreciate all of you. And man, it's only once around the ride, so always remember to keep blowing the smoke.
There you go. There you go. Thanks for being here, Gene. Mr. Six, what do you got coming up this week?
We got a cowboy match in the morning. Sunday, I'm going to try to do some powder coating, and then maybe go to the range again on Monday. Then I got to do some yard work to get ready to put out all the Christmas ornaments on Friday. That's what my plan for this week. So
very good, man. Very good.
Thanks for having me on again.
Well, thanks for being here, man. We miss you when you're not. Mr. Walter.
Well, again, I'm thankful to have had the privilege to be here with all of you folks, both here on the panel and in the side chat. It's always a pleasure on Friday night. I get a big lift in my life and in my lifestyle from hanging out with you folks. So thanks again for that. As far as what I've got coming up, I've got the 3 weekly videos. We got Moldy Monday and Wadcutter Wednesday and Free the Few Friday. Most of that's on Rumble. We're doing a little bit of the Wadcutter Wednesday on YouTube, and I had planned to do all 15 of my 38 caliber wadcutter moles in a row, but even I got bored after the first 4 or 5, so we're going to start throwing in some other ones. So this next week, Wadcutter Wednesday is going to be a 44 caliber wadcutter, and then we'll do another 38, and then a 41 caliber or something, and then a 45 or something. Anyway, I got a bunch of them if you haven't figured that out yet. But anyway, so we got casting and loading and shooting to do for all of that stuff, and we got rain inbound for California for the weekend, which is a good thing because we've been dry as a bone for the last 5 months or so. So that's what's happening around these parts. Mr. Scotsman, are you alive and well up there in that corner? I haven't heard much from you.
I'm alive, brother.
What do you got going on, buddy?
And you're talking my language, man. You're saying 44. My ears always perk up. I'll be looking forward to that one. I got a few videos I was hoping to try and get done this week, but still having good days, still having bad days, and the cold weather front coming in and the way we've had it up here has not been helping. So I do have videos planned. I hope to get them out. I'm not going to say exactly when, but hopefully I can get them out soon. But always good to be here. Always good to see everyone out in the side chat. Lots of good folks out there. Lots of good conversation. I always appreciate everybody out there, and I always appreciate being here. It's always good to see everybody.
Well, thanks for being here, brother. And I got some meat to work up next week. I mean, this weekend, I got to get some meat out of the cooler and cut up and into the freezer. Got to make some sausage. Got to do some cubing, and I'm looking forward to that being finished. Had to do some work on the car today, and I just thank all y'all for being here. I thank you for the What's Hot Pot Got segment, and thank y'all for paying attention to the verse of the week. And other than that, I guess we'll go.
Gene, wait. Gene.
There he is.
Darth.
I am your father.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, guys. With that, we hope the Lord blesses y'all all real good. And if he's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say
Love
goodnight,
y'all.
y'all.